communication between one communication director and another, is one of the up-and-coming journalists in town, sports commentator, sports journalist. He's with the multimedia broadcasting network, the various platforms that they have, their Joy, Joy News, and incidentally,
Love FM.
Incidentally, I also saw him. I didn't see. I heard him on Asampa.
Yeah, he does
some
Asampa
debate
as well.
George Ado Jr.
Yes, sir.
Recently married.
Jungle warfare.
Recently married. And the guy, George, has got a fantastic, should I say, term. That's how everybody now recognizes him. Chaotic what?
Chaotic movement.
And then, last but not least, he's also a former communication. In fact, let me read his official title because you get chow. Ibrahim Sani Dara, okay, is a CAF media officer, still a CAF media officer. He's a former GFA comms director. He's a former BBC journalist. He's a former student of Cardiff University. And according to him, he's the owner of two of the biggest sports online publishers.
According to him,
that's a fact. Anyway.
No. It's Ghana Sports, whatnot is, I think, the
Ghana.
I didn't know about two, I knew one.
Okay.
Now, maybe you didn't know about.
That's it.
That's right.
Well, can I announce?
Should I?
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay.
Can I announce?
Okay.
From the horse's own mouth.
Yeah.
There's a third one to be launched
Okay.
by the start of next month.
And, so that's what you're doing. What happened to the Nigerian lady?
Which Nigerian lady?
I leave it there. God bless, I hope you are Ghana.
Let's get a stroke. Both to defend forever.
Oh my God. No. I mean, guys, I'm sorry for doing that, but we go way back as we come way forward. That's Sanida and myself, and we met up. We had interesting times in Cardiff. I can assure you that was in the early noughties. That's how they call it, right? 2000, the early noughties. Yeah.
Yes.
Great stuff. All right. So, Henry, you're currently in the position of a communication director. Sani was your predecessor, more or less, if I should put it that way. And I don't know if I should start with him or with you.
Maybe you can start with Sani.
I think I will, because
start with Henry. He can give you the current.
The reason is this. We have to give it to you, though, you and Nyantechi, that you more or less established
a department.
That department, because it was there, but it wasn't there in that form. And you did it to the level where now you're doing what? Web pages, you're doing you're tweeting, all manner of things, all various social media platforms. Where did that whole idea start coming?
Well, it was at a point in my career where I thought I've had enough of journalism. I needed to, in fact, at the sixth time of asking, the GFA, whilst I was working at the BBC, the GFA had consistently asked me to join the Federation. I had rejected it consistently because I thought I wanted to attain some level within the journalism profession. And then at the point after the 2010 World Cup, I had achieved, perhaps I'd worked with the best media organization in the world. I'd done the World Cup opening commentary, the first World Cup in Africa, the opening commentary and the final commentary. Within that same year, I'd won the Foreign Press Media Award and several other awards. So I thought I'd had enough. I'd learned a lot, and I needed to impart more. Now, there are two things I needed to do. Consistently, anytime I came back to Ghana during those days, I had young journalists asking me to find an avenue where they could also, learn from my experiences. But I kept telling them that it's never a learning process, it's an idea sharing process. You never finish learning in journalism as it is in life. So I needed to find the avenue. So I decided to set up a website and all of those things. And sometimes with these things, you have to be physically on the ground. Then it came together at a point where the GFA came back to me again, and I thought that it would be the opportune time to be able to implement some of the ideas I've seen some of the best media or best organizations in the world do on how they serve the media. So I wanted to do the same. We wanted to replicate the same. You'd realize that it was new to the country. To be honest, it was a department, but it was a new idea. People who were, the leaders in the federation were now getting to know, even throughout Africa. It was even the first time FIFA was insisting that you must have a media officer, one media officer, not a media office. So this was where we started. And then when I came in, it was myself, Tamim Muiza, and then Julius. Julius was a graphics person.
He was a chronicle before.
Yes, yes. So we decided, to do the best we can. And to be honest, we didn't have a budget. There was nothing in the office. We had to, put things together as it is. There were difficulties because it was the start. A lot of the people within the federation did not have, the knowledge on how to run a media unit for the federation. So it was a learning process, a gradual learning process. And, we, for instance, we're the first federation to get a take by Twitter. Then Twitter was quite new. And also we're trying to take advantage of new media and all. And then we had a newspaper then. And I thought, in my opinion, it was a loss-making venture. So I pleaded with the General Secretary then that we needed to close it down. We needed to focus more on new media and social media because that is the trend. It's cheaper, it's much more wider, it can cover more grounds than the newspaper would ever do. So they agreed with my thoughts, and we closed it down and focused on there. During my time, I thought that there was a lot that could be done with a lot of, if we had the funding and the manpower, and still, I thought that there was more we could do. There was more we could do. So that was when, Henry came in, and I think that they took it and they've completely run away with it.
That's the point I was going to get to, because you've taken over now. And the last time I was in your office, I didn't show it openly, but it blew my mind. You've actually established a studio there.
Yeah.
And you're now doing more or less like, not necessarily live, but recordings that you're uploading onto the various web pages or maybe onto the various social media platforms. How did that come about?
Thank you. Before I answer your question, I would like to use this medium to show appreciation to Sunny. I think he's been very helpful. He talks to me behind the scenes. Even when we meet at competitions, he tries to guide me. For instance, at the AFCON, there were things I wasn't, there were things that looked quite new to me because it was my first AFCON, not as a journalist, but, occupying a different portfolio. And so I like the fact that he calls me on phone late in the night, gives me tips, and tries to, guide me around. And
does he pick your calls?
He does. He does. He does. So I just want to use this medium to thank him. I greatly appreciate that, and I would like to call on him to continue guiding me through the process. But to answer your question, I think I inherited an office without a plan, judging from how he exited, that particular position from the annals expose. So I needed to create things, but He mentioned that there were 3 staff members that he worked with. One of the first things we decided to do was to set up a women's desk to take care of the women competitions.
I've seen.
Yeah, so now we have 3 ladies on that desk. Yeah. The team is led by Matilda Jimedo, who is also a journalist, has experience in the industry, has worked with many media stations, and she leads that 3 team for on the women's desk. And I also noticed that we look good on Twitter, we look good on Facebook, but there were times where it was quite difficult doing other things, that is in terms of content creation. Now, if I came to GBC to use your studio to record a 1-hour program, even if you are giving it to me for gratis, it means you need to shut down all your live shows and make room for me. So the first thing that came to mind was to use one of their offices to set up a studio that will be multifunctional. We can do video, we can do our own photo shoot in that studio, and then also get a multimedia editor. So we employed 2 multimedia editors who work on the content. We do the recording, they edit, work on the content, and then we make it public. And so we created a content show called the GFA News, which is aired every Friday in the evening, where we gather all the activities of the FA during the week and we put it in a news form. One of the things that I also observed was that when it gets to competition time, our national teams sometimes, even before they exit Ghana to the tournament base, there is no proper photo shoot opportunity for the teams. So we bought our own cameras. Today, as we speak, we have about 10 studio cameras that can function without, necessarily renting camera from a TV station or not. And then we also decided to get our own OB setup. Okay. So today we are able to do a live broadcast with 8 cameras with an audio and video mixer with a team. So within the last 2 years, we've been broadcasting the Congress from Pram Pram with our own equipment, with our own personnel. It cuts costs. It gives you the chance to be flexible. It also gives you the opportunity to communicate with your audience directly. It shouldn't be that you always have to fall on TV stations. So these are some of the things we wanted to do. Again, I felt that we needed to make our products more visible. So one of the ways was to put our Women's League matches out there for people to watch. And it will surprise you that some of the games that we showed live had about 50,000, 60,000 views live on Facebook. And it's for that reason why today we have Betway as a headline sponsor of the Women's League. And we have another TV channel showing the games live. It's because I'm sure they monitored over a period and they thought it was doing well and they decided to come on board. So yes, from where he left off, I think we've added more. We are doing more. Today we've also been falling on GH Media and other media schools to give us cameramen who comes there to do internship, attachment. We go to GIJ and pick the final year students to come around and also do attachment, go through and help the team and all that. So it's not been easy. It's been hectic, especially when you need to whip the people in line and get them along, change their way of thinking and thought and make them understand that this is the new way and they need to embrace it with both hands. But I can give credit to the team that so far they've been very, very helpful and we are doing quite well.
Change their way of thinking brings me to you in particular, because now it's no more GIJ.
Yeah.
It's now called UMax.
What
is that? University of Media Arts and Communication Studies.
Okay, UMax.
Accented by the president.
Okay.
School of, how do you call this?
Communication?
NAFTI comes under it.
Oh, NAFTI comes under it now?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
really?
There's a new university out there, just that they haven't appointed the vice chancellor yet.
Okay.
But it's going to happen.
So that's why they have moved the campus to Jowlu?
Oh, no, GIJ moved the campus to Jowlu.
Okay.
But that's going to be where it is for starters, before they're going to get come. But
are you gunning to be the vice chancellor?
Who? You, me.
Yes.
When I'm retirement.
Oh, it's maybe they'll give you a 1-year contract to start the journey.
1-year contract.
Yes.
Then they should let me go to JMPC.
Oh my God!
Yeah, Franco. Yes, Franco, I was here.
But there is G in there as well. You don't want the I, you want the N, P.
Anyway, so George, the role that the two of us play, vis-a-vis what they play, at least what they know and what they do, will you be able to say and put your hand on your chest and say that you are being much more quotation marks amenable? And I'm using amenable in a quotation that the information you need, are you getting it from the FA?
It's an interesting one because Sonny and Henry obviously are hoping to make information available, but beneath all of this is also the fact that the FA wants to control the narrative. So they want to churn the news rather than allow journalists to have the opportunity to go for the news, that's it. So if, for instance, Otuado is confirmed, it will be one of the plans for the FA that Henry and his team will put Otuado, right before a camera, let him speak, and that is released to us. I don't know about whether Henry thinks we are okay or we are not okay. I'm here to tell him that. So I understand a bit of wanting to make things accessible. The truth is that we have had a lot more information. We have had a lot more interviews to do our work. But sometimes journalists want to also get the opportunity to control the narrative, because the FA would ask questions, the FA would put their interviews together, but they would have to be interviews that put the FA in the good lights, which is professional, which is what they have to do. But maybe the other questions that journalists would want to ask, maybe the other questions that journalists will want to put in there and see what else comes into it. So I understand the bit of being visible, and they have been visible. The content that we have had from for instance, the 2 World Cup qualifiers, the behind the scenes, all of that is all great. But then we cannot say, maybe I'll take over maybe between 0 and 100%. I'll say in terms of being amenable, in terms of being open to us and giving us information as much as they can, because I've called Henry a lot of times on that, and as much as they can, maybe I'll put it at 60%, because there's still a little bit of a gap in how quick the media wants information and how quick the information actually does come from the Ghana Football Association. So there is a little bit there to sort out. I'll try and break it down maybe in 2 phases. The first part is when it's got to do with the Ghana Football Association. So we are just coming back from before the World Cup qualifier. There were a lot of things that the journalists wanted to do in the build-up. We had players who were joining the team for the first time, debutants. We want, before the game is played, for instance, Dennis Odoi, we want to do a feature on Dennis Odoi. We want to talk about it. We want to get into it. And then we're faced with the FA is not releasing the list now, or we are not going to have this now, we have to wait. That's a gap, obviously. We're waiting for the first words of Otuado and, the new technical team. There can be issues, technical issues and all of that. We thought there was going to be a press conference where we were going to get the opportunity to ask questions and all. Then the FA did a 30 minutes video, 30 seconds video, 45-second video, put it out. Media were not. And it all went well because the Black Stars delivered. The other side of it is if the Black Stars did not qualify for the World Cup, the media were going to come back in and hard, because they asked the first question, what was the whole point? Why didn't we get the information? Why did this go in? So when it comes to the information that we get from the Ghana Football Association, they have tried. The second part of it is the kind of structure that is in place, for instance, for the league that we love, to ensure that things are flowing And I don't know, I will be interested to find out what Henry has to say about that. For instance, with the Ghana Premier League, we're just coming back from Hearts of Oak versus Kumasi Asante Kotoko at Accra Sports Stadium. And we have spoken about this over and over again. It is difficult, and always difficult, to get our clubs to speak before the Hearts of Oak, Kumasi Asante Kotoko game. I don't know if there's a structure that the FA must enforce and ensure that some of these things are done to help the media. So when I look at it from that angle, and then the final bit of when the news breaks, it's another critical area, because a lot of the journalists are doing their work to get the stories out. So when there's a slight delay and we say slight delay because I'm saying this relatively, because from the FA's point of view, maybe the information is not ready, and so there's no point going out there. But we have seen a lot of breaking stories coming from journalists before, which is normal anyway, before the FA comes in. So I'd say that they have tried, but there are still some gaps that we'll need to look at. But on the good side, the footage and the interviews that we would normally not get. Messi Tego ahead of the game against Morocco, the friendly. It's an interview that you will not get. I mean, obviously, unless you have a good relationship with him, even that one. Even if you want to speak to Messi, you probably have to speak to the Ghana Football Association before they give you the chance in there. So yeah, they have tried. They're on a journey, but
you're saying that because shouldn't that then be the role of the communication team, in the sense that as per what you know, as per what he knows, because even though he's been there for a short time, he's been there for at least 2 years and he knows, you normally bring them, you set them at a press conference, even though there are limitations to press conferences.
Yes.
Now, Carl, can I come in?
Yeah.
Quickly.
No.
You see, George, what the media must understand is that there's a difference between what the team does, its responsibility towards the media, and what must be done. There are rules governing all of these things. Cannot give unfettered access to the media. The team has to train. I'll come, let's say the Black Stars. Yes. The coaches will tell you that there's focus on the game. Imagine that in Accra alone, you have more than 50 radio stations. Countrywide, you have maybe more than 500. Each and every one of a radio station, TV station, media house wants an interview. So when you please this person, what happens to the rest? They'll say you are favoring this person. And I'll narrate these things to you because I used to tell some of the staff in my team, in my private team, that is Ghana Soccer Net and the rest, not to even come close to the Black Stars. Because there were instances where I remember Aminu Shado, for instance, will get an exclusive interview through his own means, without even, contacting me or speaking to me. He gets an exclusive interview. Some in the media would say, because it's sunny, you got it. So what we did was to serve, and it's the same thing Henry is doing, is to serve the entire media landscape at the same time without discriminating against anybody. So if your radio station is in Accra, you get the same content as the radio station in Asankrigwa. So there comes the creativity of the media house itself. If you get the content, what are you going to do with the content? This is where your creativity as the media outfit comes to play. And there are rules. The rules are that a day before the match, you must open your doors for the team to speak with the media. So, as it is now, opportunity where even on a daily basis, we have content coming on a daily basis. So the FA is actually going out of its way from its regulatory responsibility to give you just 1 day before the match, not more than 30 minutes. That is the law. But it ensures that it knows, the federation knows that people need content. So they've tried to create the content. So when you get the content as the media, okay, maybe these are the angles Messi spoke about in her interview. which angles can we take? Let's discuss this angle. Let's call an expert here. Let's call an expert here. Then it becomes the thing. The sticking point from what George raised was that to go behind, to prevent the FA from asking the questions so they can ask the questions directly. The difficulty there too is that the media cannot have the players or coaches every time. They also need to plan. And there are a lot of things you need to, you would understand when you are in the shoes of Henry. For instance, and I do understand, I completely understood the GFA now. Football has now gone beyond the aesthetics and what we know. If, for instance, the law also is that you have to release your starting lineup for a match 1 hour, 30 minutes before the game. 1 hour, 30 minutes. Within that, if you release your squad, your starting lineup, 3 hours before the match, you have given the opponent the opportunity to retweak their strategy of playing the match.
Sonny, you brought in another dimension which I need to come in. I'm not too sure whether, as a media practitioner, they are looking at you getting the lineup 3 hours before. Where the problem is that where this new idea of not releasing the squad, and it was only done 4 days, 5 days before
3 days, 3 days.
3 days before the match.
Yes.
Whereas you give it, because I sit here, Sonny sits here, even he sits here, he knows, but let's assume he doesn't know. He knows the England squad already. And the matches are being played around the same day or the same time, because it comes out a week and a half before, as was previously the case, but now it's changed. That may be this FA style. But where George is coming from is that then it allows the media to create quotation marks or man of stories.
Yeah. And maybe Sandy, before you continue, and for me, that the media is still the screen through which the entire Ghana is looking through.
Absolutely.
And to try and build perceptions and all of that. So it was critical, and I would understand it for any other game. Now, this was Ghana-Nigeria, and a lot of people had the emotions invested in this. People really wanted to know what was happening. I mean, Ghanaians, and I've said this, Ghanaians are hypocritical when it comes to the Black Stars. They love the Black Stars than any other team in Ghana. That is a fact. When you see them ranting, it's because of the love they have for the Black Stars. And so they want to know about the Black Stars every day. They want to know what is happening with the Black Stars. So Ghana is up against Nigeria. The Nigerians played a beautiful psychological, card of telling us that, okay, our team did well, we're knocked out, but this is the team now, we have beefed it up, what have you got? It worked well in the end. But for most Ghanaians, we're like, okay, so what's happening with our team? Who is coming? Who is going to do this? And they hear, oh, four-man team. Oh, there's a technical advisor. There's still a technical director. There was a bit of confusion there. I'm very sure Henry and maybe the FA were worried, but then they had to look at the approach to bring it in. So for some of the things like Otuado, Black Stars coach, Ghana versus Nigeria, there are some huge events that happen that you have to manage the communication, especially with the media, so that it doesn't go south. And I'm saying this because if we didn't qualify, you have heard a lot of things from the media.
Well, bad results, come with. If you look, it's normal. Look at what is happening in Nigeria. This evening I was speaking with the Nigeria FA president. People are on him, he has to leave, and the rest is... Yes, his family...
He's not a happy person.
The public are against him. His own family are asking him to leave.
Even the players.
The players are asking him to leave. So it comes with bad results. So you understand that when results don't go your way, there will be backlash. That is understandable.
But this one may be on.
Let me
because of the environment
to add to what George and Sonny have said, with particular reference to this squad for the Nigeria game, there were lots of reasons why the list delayed. From the technical point of view, the coaches wanted us to hold on. Now, one of the reasons again was that we didn't want to come out with a squad that had doubts.
Yeah.
Again, we were working on nationality switch for some of the players. And 2 weeks to the game, even 1 week to the game, we had still not gotten Elisha Owusu. So just imagine naming a squad 1 month earlier.
Yeah.
And then your nationality switch for Dennis Odwe and Elisha Owusu is not complete. Meanwhile, the coach is on the neck of the FA calling from Germany every day that we should do everything possible to get the 2 players into the team. So if you were in our shoes and the coach wants certain players in the team and those players are ineligible at the time you were planning to name the squad, what would you do? So it was quite critical, and it was for good reasons. Yes, the optics, the aesthetics, it adds to the build-up, the discussions on the squad, about the squad on radio and what have you, is what we are used to. But for this particular game, there was nothing we could do because we had 2 key things to deal with. First of all, we even had players who had played in the AFCON who were ineligible to play in the 2 games. The captain was one. 3 weeks or so to the game, Baba Rahman got injured. 2 weeks to the game, Suleimana Kamaldeen had a back problem and was not playing for Rennes in France. So sometimes you need to bide your time. Hold on. Take decisions.
So you see, Harry, it's the managing. You see, so it's the managing. Whilst all of this was going on, brilliant reasons for not releasing the squad. It was excellent, but it was a quiet space for a while. Because you are looking for information. But you know, your interest is to get the information. Yes, but you know, Carl, his interest and the general interest of the media is to get the information. But you know, when you are a manager,
both of you were also in this seat.
Yes, it's normal. I have met George. I have met George on countless occasions where we speak on issues like this. We have these candid discussions.
I don't know.
On numerous occasions. Hold on. George and I were in Cameroon.
So now,
let me tell you something.
So now, is it the case that because I'm old, so therefore when I call, you don't pick?
When you call?
Yeah.
When did you call?
Please, I called you 3 times today. You didn't
today?
Pick. Yeah.
I was working at the stadium. I was working at the stadium. Immediately when I finished, I called back.
Back in the year 2000,
when you called me,
Sunny used to call me consistently.
You see, the difficulty is that these days you become a lot busier.
Oh, but let's forget about that.
Absolutely. So you see, the thing, George, you see, I understand you perfectly.
Because George, I wouldn't pick a phone. I wouldn't pick a phone and call George and say, George, I know you are looking for information, but we are working on nationality switch of some players.
Yes.
So no, I can share that information.
Exactly.
I agree.
Pause.
I agree.
Pause. Sunny.
I will even look stupid.
Hold on.
If I told George that I will look stupid.
The problem is that if George has cultivated you for a long time, and George were to ask you, that's the way journalism works, and you know that, you would tell him, but you say off record, and George
no, these days off record doesn't work. No, hold on. I had a WhatsApp chat with a journalist, and the following day it was in the newspapers.
That journalist is not.
The following day it was a headline news on a website.
I'm coming. That journalist, no.
So I need to guard against.
Henry, that journalist is not a journalist, and next time you are not going to give it to him.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that if you gave it to, for instance, if you were to give it to me,
you never called me during that time.
Sorry, I didn't. Because I always want to give the FA the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
That there was some reason behind it. But even if I had called him and they had picked and I'm asking him A, B, C, D, he knows from working with me that I wouldn't breathe a word to anybody.
Yeah.
It means that I could also come out with my own speculation, but I do not say, Henry Asante, I think the FA is doing this. But you don't even go and say close sources within.
You're speaking for yourself. Maybe George wouldn't, you wouldn't, but others will do.
But I'm saying that then you should know the people you deal with.
Unfortunately, sometimes it's difficult to tell.
You don't even know.
You don't even know.
There are too many radio. In fact, sometimes somebody will call you. You tell him that you are just speaking to him off record. unbeknownst to you,
He's recording.
he's recording you and he'll take you on air.
Yeah.
It's happened to me on countless occasions.
I have suffered same.
You see, so sometimes you've got to be careful. And these are sensitive information that Henry could not have shared.
No problems with that.
You know, so the gap has to be there. You have to bite the bullet.
So how do we manage? So that's my
That's the point I'm getting to.
How do you manage
so
the
how do
space
we,
now?
because it's all part of the...
Even if you're not going to tell anybody, it's fine. It's okay. I understand it's his job. It's my interest that he keeps his job. That's the first thing. It's also part of it. So how do you manage the space? Was the silence the best way?
No,
because in the end,
in the Ghanaian balance, it's in the pipeline.
Because you see, when that happens, for me, my part is when that happens, then there is a lot going on, and most of these things are perceptions. People are deliberately putting in negative news. Those who want to really have a go at the FA will deliberately churn out negative news and make it look, because for a while it looked like our FA didn't know what they were about. What is happening?
Wow.
You can mention, and if you look at the commentary on social media, oh, but everybody knows Ghana squad. What is this? There were excellent technicalities, but how do you manage it? Because I've realized that, yeah, with Henry and this FA, and even maybe sometime with Sunny's FA, you know, there may be a fantastic idea that they have got, and what they are doing is great. But because of how complicated our media space is, the communication turns out, you know, and then everybody takes it in a different way.
Okay, so
when
to
they
add
meant this
to
way.
add to your point,
You know,
to add to your
so
point,
the strategy is
during
putting it out there.
during the gap, honestly,
yes,
one of the things we considered was to issue a statement to calm nerves,
yes,
and just assure the public that steps are being taken to come up with a very competent squad for the two matches.
Yeah.
But then again, you sit down and you do analysis of putting out such an information, and then you do a retrospective analysis of how the media will take it and the negatives that will come back to bite you.
But are you aware as communication director?
Especially on the back of our debacle in Cameroon.
Understood. And that's what you know. Are you aware as communication directors that there is, quote, no love lost between those who are trying to do a job and those who thrive on getting information concerning that job? And so therefore, whether you like it or not, in every profession you're going to get bad nuts. Yeah. But the problem is that, are you going to allow those bad nuts to affect? Because you're not always going to get 100%. You're going to get somebody, look, I don't like Sunny, case closed. Yeah. So no matter what Sunny does, I'm going to find fault with him. So the moment, I've got this one, look at what he's saying. You get what I mean?
Yeah,
even though it may be the right thing, I don't care. I'm looking at the other dimension. So you're going to get those bad nuts, but you've still got to work within that. So how are you as directors going to be pushing these things forward to the media as a whole? But obviously, if you choose 9, 10 you think are responsible, cultivate them and move them so that what you are looking for to project is what will be projected.
I think Henry answered this thing beautifully a few moments ago. He said within that intervening period, he was speaking to George. And mind you, he would not be speaking to George alone. Gary would call him. Yeah. And maybe Sadiq will call him. Maybe Michael will call him. Maybe, you know that within the trade, you know the professional ones. Yeah. So with them, you engage them. But for the ones, the naysayers, regardless of what you do, they'll still be stuck in their ways. So my suggestion will be that at that point, you just ignore the naysayers, engage the mainstream, tell them that, look, we are working on it. There are things going on that, you know, we cannot tell you obviously, but we are still working on it. You know, then you wait for days like this to explain to them why you did this. They would understand you. But, you know, the naysayers are there. And, you know, the social media and the growth, I think the media commission should do something about the radio stations we have in this country. The numbers are too big. For a country like Ghana, 30 million population, you have more than 500 radio stations.
Still, it's the freedom.
And there's still more coming.
The freedom that the Constitution allows. Yeah.
Carl, so for me, I mean, Sonny, Henry, this is, I mean, the period we are in is such
chaotic.
Chaotic and fragile, you know, so complicated. Ahead of a World Cup, Sonny, you know how these things go.
Yeah.
We would see some, I mean, players joining us to beef up the squad.
Yeah.
Already there are certain narratives in the media, and if you have followed it, when some players don't play well, people are angry at them because of one or two. So we are in a space where, again, Henry, communicating whatever the FA is doing is critical. One, I'm sure the whole of Ghana is waiting for who is leading the Black Stars. Even before you do anything official, things have started flowing in the media about who is going to lead the Black Stars. What team are we taking? When we are done with that, the next hurdle, and Sonny, you have gone through this, but the next hurdle is which players are going to join. The next hurdle is where is the team going to camp? What goes on? Remember, even when we had the AFCON and we didn't do well, people brought back, why did you go to Qatar? Why did you go? So you have a very, very serious task on your hand in how to manage the communication. I think you have seen what has happened in the past, so we'll be expecting a better strategy that going forward that saves everybody, even including the players, because sometimes, yes, it's true, the players hear things they're not happy about.
There was a decision to name a four-man technical team to lead the Black Stars, to those two games. Obviously, three of them, Otto, George, and
Didi
Dramani are attached. But for the fact that we engaged their employers and they agreed to release them, we wouldn't have had those coaches. So I mean, the best thing to do is to go back to their employers and re-engage them. First, you need to speak to the individuals to find out if indeed they are willing to still stay on until the World Cup. And then secondly, you go back to their employers, thank them for releasing them, and then open, fresh negotiations to see if they will be willing to give them back to you for the World Cup. And that is what we are doing. Someone like Otoado, he is held in high esteem. He is revered at Dortmund. I remember when the president visited Dortmund before the playoffs, they were blunt. Dortmund said no. They were not willing to even open any discussion with the FA. But because Otto loves his country and he wanted to serve his nation, he pushed them to listen to us. Fortunately, we reached an agreement and they released him for the 2 matches. So the best thing is to go back to them. The president is in Europe as we speak. We are still engaging the 4 clubs concerned, the 3 clubs concerned. I'm sure he will come back with good news. 3.
Didi Dramani.
I thought Didi had come back.
Didi, but he's still contracted to Norgeland. He's working for Rights to Dream here.
No.
Yes. Okay. So George is Aston Villa, Didi is Norgeland, and then Otto is Dortmund. And so I think it will take a while, but I am
looking up to you. I'm
very positive about the outcome
because you've got at least 2 or 3 qualifiers in June.
CAF have yet to confirm the dates.
Okay.
Yes, the draw is next week.
Yes.
19th.
19th.
So, yes, after the draw.
The reason why I'm saying that is that is the international calendar.
Yeah.
Those 3 there.
Yeah.
And then September, you've got 2.
Yeah.
I believe Henry is speaking about that because he's aware of the information that a lot of the African countries are asking that the matches in June be postponed.
Yeah.
So they could play friendly matches
ahead of the World Cup.
That's because all our opponents would be playing friendly matches.
Yeah.
If we engage in qualifiers, it wouldn't be the same quality of opposition you would want for the World Cup.
But then comes the problem. Because Qatar is in November.
Yes.
There's no space in October.
There's September.
There is September.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's no space in October. There will have been space in September.
Yes.
In October,
and then
in November.
In the lead up to the World Cup.
But there's no space because remember, if it had been a June World Cup, and so therefore, why doesn't then? And I know we are digressing a bit. Why doesn't CAF then decide that look, Nations Cup do it every 4 years?
Well, it will not be possible because the African Cup of Nations is the flagship football competition for Africa.
The Euros Championships are the flagship for Europe.
Africa started playing before Europeans even thought of having a continental championship.
False.
Why do we, it's true, why do we always have to bend over to Europe?
We are not bending over to Europe. What I'm saying here is this. I personally have advocated 4 years is enough for me. Hold on. 4 years is enough for me. You choose the time you play. Asia plays it in January and February. The only exception that they've done is next year's own, because it's being held in a country that it rains like hell, so they are moving that to June. Okay?
Instead of January.
Yeah, instead of January. Yeah. But apart from that, every 4 years is being done like that. CONMEBOL, every 4 years. They used to be every 2 years. They've changed to 4 years.
Yes.
CONCACAF, every 4 years. Everybody except.
No, we also think differently. In Africa, we think that the consistent playing of the AFCON has brought football to a level that was not there previously. So you would have a situation where we are consistently playing the competition. It's making our players much more experienced. It is giving them much more exposure. It is giving us more views and mileage worldwide and all.
Ibrahim, I find that difficult to accept because that one, the players getting all those mileage and all those sort of experience and whatnot, has to do with UEFA Champions League and all those sort of things. It's not the quantity.
I think
because in terms of
we are
the one tournament,
competition
is the one tournament, and he knows, is the one tournament that if the host nation is not playing, crowd, you what?
Well, that it's a problem because of the continent we find ourselves. If Africa
traveling
was to
is
have been
expensive within the continent,
traveling,
even within this West African zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If travel was as cheap, you can imagine the number of
jump onto a train
who want to go by themselves to go and watch the AFCON. People don't always want to sit at home and watch television. Some of them want to go and enjoy the fun.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And what you see on television during the African Cup of Nations, not comparable anywhere, no competition in the world.
Knows that.
Yes.
Everybody knows that.
So let's keep what
That's
we
why
have.
the live feeling is there.
Exactly. Make the most of it.
Brazil.
That is why every African footballer wants to go to the AFCON. Please don't join the Europeans.
No, Rio Carnival.
They want to kill us. This is ours. Support your own.
This is ours.
I think
Rio Carnival.
I just think the other point is that if you've looked at a lot of African countries, it is hosting an AFCON that pushes them to build infrastructure.
It's true.
So even from a development point of view,
to
we need to get more
yes. I've heard,
as we speak, there is no.
I've heard that statement.
Yes.
Being touted out by Issa Hayatou. I have been at a media conference with him and I told him point blank, it's false. Even the World Cup, the stadium, this infrastructure you're talking about, have they not become white elephants in South Africa? Please. He doesn't hold water.
Well,
but in the past, I'll use Ghana.
But the truth is also that. Let's just point to
when you go to Sekune,
even though the AFCON in
what happened to Sekune?
But for the AFCON.
But hold on.
I mean,
so the next step is next
Cameroon.
But for the AFCON,
Exactly.
Hold on. But for the AFCON,
The training pitches I saw in
Banyako was almost murdered when he did. How do you call that your department? Pitch inspection, whatever it is.
Club
license. Was bad when he said Kumasi was not even up to standard. Okay?
Yeah, but the issue is
if he wants the AFCON, the stadium will be up to standard.
Oh!
It's the same thing. Look at Cameroon. Look at the name Cameroon has. Did you ever imagine that 6 years before, they didn't even have stadiums to play league matches?
Yeah. I know.
The African Cup
That's why
of
the
Nations.
Nations Cup was taken away from them.
I was at Japoma in Douala. amazing facility. I've been to World Cups, and I can say that the Japoma Stadium, like many others, spread across the country, is comparable.
Even the
so without the AFCON, would they have?
But they still would have had the AFCON.
Yeah.
At one stage, they would have had it and so develop up.
Yeah,
but
exactly. So
the
it
frequency.
Yeah, but kind of like in defense of Issa Hayatou, when he makes the point about development, the problems of having stadia that are left like where we become white elephants is because one issue of location has been there, and the issue of maintenance does not.
And that is why I'm saying so.
Yeah, but that's the point.
So
you have
Mr.
the edifice. But you have the edifice. I'm saying that
therefore,
without the AFCON 2008, we don't have Tamale. We don't have a Sipon.
We don't
What
have
we
a
do
Sipon
with it,
second.
do you have a
And
Sipon?
all the training pitches.
At the moment, we don't have a
Do you have a
Sipon.
Sipon?
Yes, because a Sipon.
It was only recently
Sipon
that
has no
Tamale
problems.
was released. Please, can you clarify that for me? Tamale will host the Ali Muhammad Stadium will hold the RTU Kotoma.
Yes.
Only recently.
Yes, but I'm saying, for instance, a Sipon has its own issues. Because the people in Sekindi and Takrade want Jim
Even Kumasi was closed down.
They have to go to Sipon. They are not interested in Sipon. So who put the stadium at the Sipon? We have to go and ask him. It can't be the problem of a competition giving you the opportunity to put up edifices. So there's a good point there for having more competitions to give us, and it is there. So if you make the mistake of not situating the edifice at the right place where will be active for people to use, it's another issue.
Right, in case you switched on your TV set, this is Saving Our Passion. We're looking at the role of communications in helping to enhance our football in this country. I've got the current communications director at the FA, Henry Asante-Chum. I've also got George Addo Jr. from the Multimedia Broadcasting Group, and then I've got my junior brother, Ibrahim Sanidara, who happens to be a CAF media officer, ex-GFA communications director, ex-BBC journalist, and I'm saying everything.
And the man who owns Ghana's
the two largest
Ghana's largest football website.
So that I know about that one. I will agree with him on that.
And he's launching a new one.
Another one. They put it the third one.
Yes.
Right.
He's making more money.
Yeah, very good. So that's what we're having at the moment. We'll continue the discussion. We're going for a short break. Don't go anywhere. Already 1 hour is already gone. I can't believe this. I thought we had 30 minutes. I mean, that I have less than 41. It tends to happen when you have people who speak their minds and speak them extremely well and quite passionately. Today, in case you switched on, as I said, we are looking at communications, the communication directorate of the FA, and what it does in terms of media, how to push the game forward. I've got Henry Asante-Twum, the current communication director of the FA, and a former journalist in this house.
I'm still a journalist.
He's still a journalist, actually.
No, but you see, wait. I said a former journalist in this house.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
When did I leave here? 2012, eh?
I can't remember.
Wow.
10 years ago?
Yeah,
2012. Wow! It was February 2012.
Already?
After the Gabon Equatorial Guinea tournament.
After you had taken full advantage to go to SA to go and report for the and then George Ado Jr., who's from the multimedia group, and then Ibrahim Sanidara, who plenty titles, but the key one is that he's a CAF media officer, and he was recent. You are the recent.
Very helpful.
You didn't go.
AFCON?
Garua.
Yes, he was there.
I saw you out there. Yes.
He was there.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? But having said that, so here's a situation where the media on one side needs the information. Quotation marks, it may not be getting what it wants, and so could start manufacturing something if there's a need for it. And then there is the FA on the other side, through its communication director, which now suddenly has to go into consistent defense mode because people are coming up with all manner of conjunctions and stories. How do we get them, or how do we get to narrow the gap as it is? We've given ideas here, but how can it practically be done so that it works for not only the benefit of the media houses, but also work for the benefit of the FA? Because Henry has given us ideas of some of the things he personally and you have done in terms of enhancing and expanding. I personally wish that they'll break down all the walls at the FA Communication Directorate and do something better and let the studio, because the studio is a bit too small for my liking, but we're much bigger in terms of whatnot. And then you have, because you're not only dealing with electronic, you're not only dealing with social, you're also dealing with print, the oldest form.
Yes.
And I think maybe we should have something like that. But unfortunately, everything is lumped up together. And if today print is not what it used to be, because with the advent of electronic and then since new media, then it means that very soon you'll be forgetting about a large chunk of a society which still tends to operate with the old media in mind.
How have you dealt with the print media? I think, fortunately, I have a good relationship with most of them, from Daily Guide, Kofi Adionum, to Daniel Kenu, to luckily enough, Rosalind serves on one of the committees, so she frequents the FA for meetings because she's the, I think, vice chairperson of the Women's League Board, and we have a good relationship. John Viga is another example at Ghanaian Times. I've dealt with them professionally, sometimes via WhatsApp conversations, phone calls, and I am also happy to say this, that sometimes they don't even call me. They always, check on the FA website for information. And the only time they call is when they do not understand certain things and they want, more details to freshen up and to add some juice to the story, whichever angles they want to project. So the print media, we have served them quite well, especially because, these days we do a lot of transcripts as well, and the print media thrives on transcripts, thrives on, getting the information, making the information available to them. We also know that they feed a certain group of people. There is still that, group that they serve who rely on Ghanaian Times, graphic sports, daily guide, they also have their constituency, and you need to serve that constituency as well. So even though social media is the ish today, and website is also what a lot of people pay attention to, we also have some sort of good rapport with the print media.
Just a quick one.
I'll let you talk, but I'll also ask you, do you, and answer this one, do you also frequent the FA website consistently?
Yes, I do. When I need information, I go there. And it's more like a routine check, not only the website, but also the Facebook page.
Is it
the
updated
Twitter
frequently?
handle. Yes, updated. It's updated.
Because there's some websites you look in this country.
No, it's updated.
On daily basis.
And this
we learned from Sani.
Yeah, but this is the point I was making. This is the point I was even making. And just coming back to it, the point I was making was that I hope Henry is aware. This football association setup, for many media men and a lot of onlookers, they expect top-notch communication because our FA boss has been in the media before. Henry has. I don't want to go on. If you look at
the general secretary
has been
a media person.
So Henry, you are not. I hope you are not surprised when something goes wrong and everybody's attacking. Sometimes the Twitter handle makes like a typo, and everybody's jumping on. I remember in the build-up to the Ghana-Nigeria, the Twitter handle posted something about electricity. We have more electricity, and once that went on, yes, when that went on, there was a serious attack under the tweets, and they had to delete and all. So there's a certain expectation. That is why people are up there, and for every issue, it's not even about just the Black Stars and the Women's League or whatever. But if there's an issue about sponsorship, the expectation is that the communication will be clear, so that nobody goes in and out. Sometimes I can understand the problem because of the dynamics of communication these days. We have a SWAT platform, we have this platform. So sometimes you may have the general secretary reacting to somebody, someone picks that up as an official communication and tries to put that back at an interview that Henry granted somewhere. So
no, but that's the problem, right? Because others will ask, George,
yes,
why must there be a reaction? If, for instance, you've got 50 million pounds as sponsorship for the league.
Yeah.
The shocking thing is that Sani, not Henry, we've got Henry.
Yeah.
In their place in the league. But we don't get the breakthrough here in Ghana.
Yeah.
Regardless of how small the money may be, at least let me know.
Get the breakdown.
Yeah. And let's put it there. Because I sit in my lecture theatre and I talk to students and I lecture them, and I lecture them that A, B, C, D. So when Manchester United get this, they get that, they get that, they get that. Sir, how much do the Ghanaian clubs get?
There have been reward packages. I mean, to answer that question, there have been reward packages
which have been spelled out clearly for that one
in the last 2 seasons.
And graphics
first,
on it,
very good.
So
first, second, third, and all.
But there's a hurdle. And anytime I make a point, it's because I can see what's about to come. I don't like the idea that we discuss a lot of, how much the Black Stars are receiving and all of that.
No.
Black Stars do well and go, but it is part of the conversation.
No, but why should you know? Do you know how much the England players earn?
No, we don't know, because
that's the point. Because it even goes to their favorite charity.
And Henry knows. Henry knows.
Henry knows. But
I don't like.
He has no right.
Yes.
And no business.
No.
Disclosing how much.
Yes.
Players
He has no right, no business.
Unfortunately.
I think going into the World Cup.
Yes.
This is my special project. Going into the World Cup, the media would now have realized that. There's something they've also benefited in Ghana qualifying for the World Cup.
A lot.
So it is important that they also try to protect the federation in some ways. And what has destroyed the federation the most is discussions about money, particularly attacking players and officials as money-hungry people, or players as people who don't care about the nation, they don't care about the country, and all they think about is money. It destroys everything you've built over the years. So I suggest this goes to the authorities that some of these things we should just,
manage the communication.
Manage the communication
the
well.
critical thing.
Not to put it out in the public. Yeah. And then also...
No, but it's never put out in the public, Sunny.
Yeah,
in the past we've done that
in the past, it has been.
And
not only that,
officials,
but also there are certain people who calculatedly, in certain positions of authority, who calculatedly go out there and leak certain information to their friends in the media. Yeah. And it comes back to us. And then also, this is a plea also to the players that they should not take a position. I know from now up till the time we go to the World Cup, there'll be talk about bonuses and the rest, how much they'll earn and the rest. They must be flexible. They must also be careful with the language they use. In the past, a lot of players were saying, it is my work. Your work is your club abroad. Europe. If it is you are playing for Hearts of Oak or Asante Kotoko, that's your work. When you are playing for Ghana, you are serving your nation. But that doesn't mean that you should not be paid for what you do. So when you go there with good faith.
Can I ask this question again? I need to clarify, because you've gone into some form of details. Do English players get paid?
They get money, yes, they do get money. No one says it. And many countries, the players do get money. Let me tell you, Yusuf Chipsa perhaps might be watching us. When we started going to the World Cup 2006, yes, he was part of the negotiation team for the players.
And Otto.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And do you know how they reached their figures? They spoke to their colleagues in the other teams. Yeah. So obviously, those colleagues were paid.
I remember.
But they don't say.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
Those colleagues are paid, but the money does not invariably go to them.
I doubt
to their favorite charity.
No.
Maybe you are using the English
but even that, even that. So I'm not
in Africa.
All I'm trying to say is that all I'm trying to drive the point home is that nobody releases any figure.
Yes.
Officially.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes. For instance, I mean, the Cup of Nations in Cameroon. Yeah. In one of the meetings, our players were telling us how much the other countries.
It is true.
Yes, because they are on club platforms and they discuss some of these things. They are on other platforms and they talk about these things.
Yes.
So our players were telling us how much were paid to their friends in the Cameroon team. Niger, for instance,
and they'll show you the messages.
And they show the messages.
This is a player.
But you don't hear about it. You don't hear about it in Gabon.
Media. Oh. You see,
but here it's a big deal.
When you do a budget for the team, it's already out there, and then this is where people get worked out because maybe the country is going through difficulties, and the football industry is a lot different from other sectors of life. You know what the football industry has become. If we want to be among the big boys, we have to. Yeah.
I don't have a problem. I really don't have a problem with what even my producers and directors were saying, that they are technically paid, but even though it doesn't come to them outside. I agree on that. But the point that I'm trying to drive home is that there is not a lot of confusion over monetary matters.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Which is a fact.
Yes.
Unlike on this part of the world,
so we have
where it becomes of SAYO and FIFA, and with all due respect, it got to its bottom.
Yeah.
When we saw the picture of the kissing of the man in Brazil. And it's made so many things. So I think that in terms of PR, if anything at all, if you've agreed on 100,000, let them give it to their favorite charities. It does a lot in terms of PR. Because like you said, Sani, your business really is with the club you're playing for. They pay, and that's why they have quotes first choice of your services.
Yeah, but Carl, it's difficult to
But
tell
Carl,
somebody.
Carl,
It's difficult to tell somebody what to use the
You
money
see,
for. That's one.
whilst exactly one, but the charitable works that the players in Africa do, the Europeans don't do it.
I know, building hospitals on their own.
Exactly.
I know,
Building
that's how I agree with you.
School fees,
That one, there is no doubt about it.
hospital bills.
People queue in front of their homes.
Funny, you see what I'm saying? So I'm saying that it's managing. I'm not saying it's managing the communication and the PR, as you said. Ghanaian players do a lot of things. I don't know why, and if some of them are watching, I don't know why they want to do it always and say they don't want it to go out. These days, we encourage a bit to put them out. When they come back, they do. They go back, they give, and all of that.
Absolutely.
So it's about managing the space.
You don't know why.
It's about managing the space.
Ask the MP. They wake up in the morning at 5 a.m., have their quiet time. By the time they open the gate at 6 o'clock, they're fair to line. You will see what I mean.
It's the same with the footballers.
That's what I'm trying to say.
It's
So
the
they
same
don't
with
want
the footballers.
So
So give the money to them. Let them do their normal charity.
I tell you one day I was talking to one of our players who is still in the team, and he said that Charlie Sikana Yajina Ghana food di attend Biano. Yes, and the Chenkofo.
It's true.
Yes, and the Chenkofo.
Sometimes
he was showing me
before they even leave.
Yeah. And he was showing me
Before they even leave
showing me
campus.
school fees he had paid the day before.
Exactly.
Please, please, listen. When the Black Stars used to camp at this hotel, Wangara, thank you. That's the one I was looking for. I know. Yes, going back then. Going back then. Tony Edouard and the workman.
Yeah. Those days.
You come and see the queue. Oh, it started before. Started was Butler's time, but it started going to Wangara.
Yes.
Then continued all the way through Jawula and then Dosena and all those people. And you see people there.
I remember a guy. He's late now. He's called Sepete. He used to groom footballers, so he groomed Abladekuma, Shamukwe, and the rest. And I remember there was one team manager. I hear he's also late. They call him Saikochi.
Saikochi,
yes,
was working at the NSA.
Yes. Sepete was coming to Angara to get into Angara. Saikochi said, "Look, the players have gone to rest." Sepete started pouring insults on Saikochi. Only Beni Inkablade Kuma Jenshi. Never back. And he started narrating the history. Then I called him aside and explained to him that you
that is the era. I said that's the era. That's the country we live in. But the good thing is that it's changed.
Yeah,
it's changed. Now you can't walk into a 5-star hotel, with all due respect to those hotels, then, and can't tell the people there that I made a Bladekuma.
Oh yeah, all right, yeah.
You would dare, they will throw you out. Yeah. Their own security in the hotel will throw you out. So you have to find it.
Yeah.
But what it is that there is the issue of the media on one side, the public on one side, and the FA on the other side. And the FA, I think, in this particular case, being fronted by the communications team. So, if we've got that, we've understood that sometimes they're not prepared to give all, there's a reason for that. The media needs so much stories, so much information. The public depends on the media for that information. The question I'd ask you, and I'll be a bit hard on you, George, is that, because you're representing the media here, some of the reasons that we seem to request for information tends not to inform, entertain, and what's the other one?
Educate.
It is intended to create mischief.
It's true.
It is intended to malign people.
Yes.
How does the media get its act together? Because you are the ones who are the buffer between the FA and the public.
So I think it's a bit of orientation that we need going forward in this crucial period. So Sunny already gave a hint of it, and he says that there are privileges that come to you as a media man because your team is in the World Cup.
Priority journalist.
So in as much as you want to go out with any story, you also have to remember that you are a part of this whole plan. We have the oversight responsibility of ensuring that things are put right, but things must be put right in a way that you don't destroy the whole product that we are working around. In times past, we have gone hard at things and destroyed them, and we have had to feel the problems. There are some of the things I can't say here, but having someone like Sunny at CAF is such a good help for those who have dared to.
For those who didn't get accreditation, and he helped them secure one.
But the same Sunny was the same. Yes. There's a problem when it came to
absolutely.
So this is what I say. I'd say that going forward, we must understand the responsibility we have to keep the kind of feeling we have had after the Nigeria-Ghana game. Nigeria afforded us the best opportunity in 2 games, in 180 minutes, to bridge the gap that was there between the fans and everybody. We all came together because we had to unite against the enemy. And by God's grace, we were able to get the result that took us to the World Cup. So now, we will ask the key questions. But we have to ask the key questions with a mindset that it is supposed to be helping the national team. It's supposed to be helping the players. It's supposed to be helping the whole agenda. We don't go in there with a negative approach to try and destroy what we are building.
But it's not restricted to the national team.
No, not just that.
Because with club size, it's a totally different kettle of fish.
Yes, I agree. It's not. There are things that we have to speak about. If Accra Hartsville goes wrong somewhere, we must talk about it. If the Black Stars didn't play well, we must talk about it. But we don't have to talk about it in a way that makes it, like you are destroying the product almost. So we can talk about how good a player did or how bad the player did, but we must have that mindset that we are part of this. And it is. I've met friends from the UK, and I see their posture when they have to talk about Three Lions, or when it's got to do something about Three Lions. It's that kind of, patriotism that we need, and professionalism that we need, going forward in this period, and that's what I think.
In fact, this is what I'd wanted to finish on, that it seems that a lot of times, a lot of Ghanaian journalists, particularly in the sports industry, come up as against their own country. I've been in a situation where I had to separate fights between Algerian journalists and Senegalese journalists, because both groups were very passionate about their countries. So we have to get to the point where, just as George was saying, I sat in a newsroom completely dominated by English people. And we all knew then that their national team was rubbish. But they will tell you they had the best player in the world. They will sit in your face. Then they will tell you that Rooney was better than Messi. They were supporting their country. I don't see that with Ghanaians. I think that we are all too eager to, first of all, the first point of call is the GFA. Find somebody at the GFA to blame. Get a player, go at him, do something against the player. Where's the patience? I think we must think through some of these things the way we do. And if, good things come, like the World Cup has come to Ghana, you see the benefits. I'm already getting to know that Twitter, for instance, is signing up a few Ghanaian journalists to be their World Cup correspondents. Some will get opportunities to go on Super Sports and the rest. The opportunities are many. Enormous. And it's there for everybody. You must also realize that when you go to the matches and you are given accreditation, those that have qualified have preference. Yeah. Even on match day SAD distribution.
That's why I need to find out from Henry now in terms of what then is the FA's plan because you've got, what, 7 months?
6 to 7 months, yeah.
In terms of media accreditation, one.
It's controlled by FIFA.
I understand. Has it been opened yet?
No,
Not
yet.
open. Good. Then probably the next question you probably want to ask is that he talked about Ghanaians being given preference because Ghana has qualified.
Yeah, I have been to 3 World Cups, so I know how it feels.
Exactly.
I mean, on match days, when other journalists walk to the media area and they are looking for match day seats for the media, for the press area, they are asked to wait until the countries who are playing have been dealt with.
Yes,
so for instance, George is coming from Ghana. If Ghana is playing against Portugal, Portuguese and Ghanaian journalists are priority journalists.
Yes.
They are dealt with separately from the other journalists. Same for press conference, access to post-match and pre-match press conference, because you are the preference, you are the country, they call it the PMA, the participating member association. That's how they call it. That's how FIFA, terms it. So I want to believe that, first of all, in 2006, when I got the chance to be at the World Cup, I was so green. Young in the job, first World Cup, didn't know my whereabouts, but 4 years later, I had grown into a better person based on the experience that I had in Germany. 2010 was an upgrade. 2014, I was more mature, and I understood how World Cup, the ins and outs of being a journalist and covering a World Cup tournament. There are journalists in Ghana today who will be going to Qatar for the first time in their history or in their lives,
and maybe
as journalists
and last.
covering the World Cup. The opportunities. I got a chance to work for O Globo in Brazil.
Yeah.
And I was paid well. That was in 2014. I am sure that, but for the fact that Ghana had qualified for the World Cup, I wouldn't have had that
Let me
opportunity.
confess this.
Yes.
Let me confess this. I was still in the UK then, when the African Nations Cup in 2008 was played.
Yeah.
I came down to collect data. Martin Davis saw me.
Yeah.
What? You are here? Round commentary. I went there very, very grudgingly. When they passed me the envelope and I opened it, I appeared every day. Any job for me? Any job for me?
Yeah, those are the opportunities,
I did quite a few,
Yeah.
but I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that when it gets to World Cups, it's a different ball game altogether, because regardless of whether Ghana is meeting Portugal and so therefore they have priorities, we all know that when it comes to the BBC, when it comes to the IT,
Those are different. No. The BBC will not even go and queue for match
Because they have rights.
No, they have rights.
Because they have
They are
rights,
dealt
they are dealt with
differently.
There's a media manager for the right holders.
Yeah.
So they are.
For instance, BBC.
In fact, they are giving frontal
if
seats,
you want
yes.
me to move away BBC and ITV, okay, Daily Mail, The Sun.
Same.
No, simply
They belong
put,
to that category.
Simply put, it's the English, Brazilian, American journalists that are given code like priorities. German, obviously, Italian, whatnot.
Yeah.
But
The
this
larger
is the
platforms.
This is where
but
then
Carl,
why doesn't
my radio station in Esuboy, nobody knows Opokwa Mankwa.
But then that is
of
why
Esuboy
Henry Asantuchum of Esuboy
Yes.
to be able to go there and tell them that, quote, and you'll be on your Benya ticket. But the point is that communication gap.
No, okay, I get where you are coming from. So we went to Qatar for the draw. Now, after the draw, there was 2 seminars for, first of all, the media managers of all the qualified national teams. As we speak, we have 29 qualified teams.
Yes.
Because there are 3 more games.
Well, people have come up with
Yeah.
come up with the news that
Wales, Scotland, and Ukraine.
No, Scotland and Ukraine will
yes.
meet June 1st,
Okay.
And then on June 4th or June 5th, the winner will meet Wales.
Wales.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that settles that
and then
one.
there is, and then there is
the
Australia,
CONCACAF,
Costa Rica.
Good. That's the CONCACAF zone, which is playing against Oceania.
Yeah.
And then obviously there is the winner there. I think will meet CONMEBOL's 5th position. So it will settle all those
by June. Okay. So, so yes, we were taking through media programs, accreditation process, procedures, and all that. Now, once the accreditation process begins or opens, it will be assessed by everyone across the globe, and Ghanaian journalists can apply. Now, there is a code that will be given to every member association. So the Ghanaian journalists who apply for the accreditation must now contact the FA for that code. But the final decision, even though we will play a role, the final decision
lies with FIFA.
Yes, lies with FIFA. Now, let me also mention that unlike our Premier League here in Ghana, or maybe the AFCON, where you can sit in the stands and run commentary on your phone, the World Cup doesn't work that way. So if you are a journalist and you are planning to go to Qatar to go and cover the competition, try as much as possible to secure rights, because you can easily be arrested.
And you'll be in jail.
And you'll be in jail if you are found in the stands running commentary on phone. If you are found, pray you are not found.
Too risky.
But cameras are everywhere, so don't even risk it at all, because they have sold the media rights, they've taken money from the companies who have bought it, and they want to try as much as possible to protect it. So in the coming days, we will run some of these series, seminars, education, to our journalists.
Okay.
Yes, we will try and take them through all the processes, application process, what you must do, what you shouldn't do when you are in Qatar. We will go back to Qatar in June for the final seminar, for which reason we will have the media manual. The media manual will be given to every member association. So you then have to speak to that media manual, fact and point by point. And you need to also make it available to the Ghanaian media. Plan is to publish it on the FA website once that is given to us, so that they will understand, and then we'll also give them a platform, maybe one press conference where all the questions will be asked, and me being the team media officer will be available to take them through the various stages and the various programs available to the media. So it is something we are trying to do. We've also started engaging the High Commission in Doha. The ministry is working on getting as many funds as possible, to go and support the team. We've started engaging the High Commission in Doha. They are a bit strict because of their stance. They want to deal with only the High Commissions of the respective countries. So through the Sports Ministry, we've written to the High Commission. We are looking for space. They have built something like a games village in a city called Wakra, which is located at the outskirts of Doha. That is where they want to camp fans who will come from the other countries. If you have the money to sleep in a hotel, the hotels are there for you to book and stay in. But if you do not have the money, they are now building apartments that can house 15 people in a confined area. They are building tents, they are building camps. We went around to visit or to inspect some of these facilities. We have regular contact with the LOC in Qatar. Even yesterday, we had a chat with the marketing and communications manager, who happens to be a Ghanaian, Samantha Sifa. She comes from... Yes, and she's the head.
Carl, this is saving our passion, and the pinnacle of this passion is the Black Stars. What goes wrong with the Black Stars can affect us. I can say since we played the World Cup qualifier against Egypt in 2013, that's taken us this long to get back to this level. Some of the communication problems that are created for the FA to deal with sometimes are not directly coming from them, because they are key stakeholders in this. The budgets for the World Cup is not going to be generated only by the FA and perused by the FA. There will be other parties who will sit down around the table. The issue has been that sometimes it's not from the FA, but one of the parties may end up releasing a list or releasing something out to the media. Sometimes it may come from somebody. You see, you cannot escape that. Carl, so this is what I'm saying. It's a charge. It's a charge to everybody.
You cannot escape
from now till we go to the World Cup and after the World Cup. If you're a politician,
maybe we should swear an oath.
No, yeah, me. Even not. But I'm just saying that
I'll let you continue.
See,
I am ready to swear an oath of secrecy.
Swear an oath. Yes. Even when not to go to court and put their hand on the Bible and the Quran and swear by
they lie. Yes. So I'm appealing to conscience. I'm appealing to conscience because if you're a politician and your duty falls in line with this Black Stars activity, you have to be aware that your communication, the comments that you make, can still affect us. If you're a Black Stars player, the way you carry yourself from now is very, very important to keep Ghanaians locked in.
Orientation. Yeah.
You know, if you are a Ghana Football Association official, the way you go about what you say, we have to be careful. If you're a media man, it's a whole nation job. Of everybody must make sure that the comments that you're putting out there are responsible enough. And we haven't said you can't go and do your investigation and all of that, but make sure that what you are bringing out is for the purpose of educating people, the purpose of putting things right, and not go the other way around. Because I think we got complacent after going in 2006 and 2010 and thought we could gamble with 2014, and we messed it up.
I don't know. I sit here.
Do you still have time?
Only he just spoke and told me about 5 minutes. Quickly.
Yes.
Quickly though. So, where do you think we will be in 10 years from now if the completion in quote of a thorough communication department of the FA or of the GFA is fully functioning? Would we still have that, for want of a better word, please, animosity between media, between FA, between public, or it would be a bit more cordial?
I expect it to grow cordial. But even as media, practitioners and professionals, we have to understand that there would always be a gap, because the pace at which we want the information may not necessarily be may not work out the way the FA wants to bring it in. So yes, the media would react when information has come out from the Ghana Football Association and background checks prove that it's not the case. When the Ghana Football Association has been right or have been truthful and they brought out an information, there will be gaps, because sometimes when something happens quickly, we want the information, we want it. So I think that it will grow. I mean, being cordial, I think that will grow, but there will still be gaps, and there are still gaps everywhere. So we have to understand that we have to manage the gaps very well, but it won't stop us from doing our work. So we are still going to be watchdogs over what Henry does as the communication director. And we will tell him that we don't think we agree with you here. Henry will say, this is what I thought, but after that banter, it shouldn't go down to, I think that this FA is so bad, I think these guys are no good, this bastard's no good. I mean, I couldn't believe that some people were still even arguing and ahead of the game were still saying Nigeria beat Ghana. I'm like, okay, so I'm supporting, they told me, I'm supporting Nigeria. I'm like, oh, okay. If you support Nigeria beat Ghana, what do you gain from it?
Exactly.
Then I said, so why don't you just support Ghana? Even if Ghana lose, you supported Ghana. So I think it will grow, but both sides have to play their bit. I don't think the media will stop doing their job and being watchdogs. We'll continue to do that. We expect that all stakeholders will do it with the one aim of making sure that we're starting at a good place. This is a fantastic year for us. The Black ladies will qualify for the World Cup.
Sure.
The Black princesses have qualified. The Black stars are there. We have athletes who are doing well.
Under 17 will be playing soon. Under 20 will be
The
playing
17,
soon.
fortunately, is happening in Ghana.
Yes.
So it's a good year.
Qualification all over.
It's a good year.
You know, I
Final
think
word.
it's a good time. I think that the media should work more with the federation. There's a lot, given where I sit now, there's a lot would benefit if we also have our FA going up there, our teams getting up there. So we have to support the federation carry out its program. I'm not saying that we should not criticize the FA. If they get things right, we should criticize, but not to criticize to destroy.
Okay.
I think it's the way we move. In the future, I think that things will move. The world itself will change. The media will change. We are getting into Web 3.0. The metaverse is coming and all of it. It will change the way we communicate. Maybe in 10 years' time, we might be doing something different. Even the years from now, there are different ways people are communicating.
Give it 5 years,
change.
electric cars will be
Exactly.
All
Exactly.
over the place.
already started already in America.
Yeah.
If you watch some of the ads you see on that CNN US, they're already advertising cars that have dual
Petrol and
then electric. Final word from behind me, since you're the current guru.
Well, I don't want to believe that it's been 100% since we came into office. We would like to thank the media. Like George mentioned, it's been a good year. 2 of our national teams have already qualified for the World Cup. The Black Maidens will play Guinea on Saturday. I'm very hopeful of a good result in the first leg, and then we'll play them in the second leg on the 30th of April. Aside that, we are hosting the WAFU competition. We are blessed that, you know, in our engagement with UEFA Assist, they have seen Ghana as one of their model countries. Today, we have an event that the technical directorate is using to train coaches across the country because of UEFA Assist. They came to Ghana to run communication and marketing seminars and courses for our Premier League clubs, our Women's League clubs, and our Division 1 League clubs. They also came to Ghana to run football administration and high-level performance courses for all our Executive Council members, you know, all by UEFA Assist. And today, UEFA Assist, as a body, have decided to sponsor us to organize a 4-nation under-17 tournament in Cape Coast in May, and I think it's a good thing. Ghana, Benin, and then one country, either Italy or England, will play. We are still seeing the other country.
Okay.
Yeah.
In
a U17 tournament. So we are making steady progress. We just want to call on the Ghanaian media to be supportive. Our doors are always open. It may not go the way you want, but it shouldn't be the end of the road. Let's all come together and push the brand and push the industry, because it will inure to our benefit. We will all come brand that fits us.
Henry Asante Chum, current communication director at the FA. Thanks for coming on the program. George Addo Jr., sports journalist and recently married at the multimedia broadcasting corporation.
Oh, recently married. I didn't know that. Did you marry at home?
Some of us were not invited.
Okay. And then Ibrahim Sani Dara,
Former
CAF media officer,
former director of communications.
Before we do,
Former BBC journalist.
Oh, come on. let me do my job so I can go home. Go.
The owner of the largest.
Okay, I'm getting up and going.
He's missed the seat.
But I've been told to ask the two of you to give your Easter message. So please.
The two of us.
Yes.
Oh, but I can also give
Yes.
So I'll start with you.
And he's even fasting, so
yes.
he can give Ramadan message as well.
At the moment, he's not fasting. Few moments.
We'll pass by Nima.
Easter message. Quickly.
Well, happy Easter to all our viewers. I think it's an opportunity for us to rest. It's been a challenging year from the days of COVID. Let's not delve into anything that will be trouble for us. Let's come together and celebrate the death of Christ.
Yes,
right?
Death and resurrection.
Of Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Amen.
Amen.
George Addo Jr.
I think Easter is all about forgiveness. That's the key theme. So I don't want you to be holding any grudges against anyone. It's a wonderful window to drop all the problems and key, because we're human beings who all die one day. Let us enjoy the time we have on this world. And it's an opportunity to forgive anybody who has wronged you. Have a fantastic time. Enjoy. It's a chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Happy Easter to everybody. Be safe with your families and everyone. Let's be united as a country. Let's be united as a people. And Ramadan Mubarak to every Muslim fasting in Ghana and those not capable of fasting for various reasons. Enjoy yourself. Be safe and be with your families. Thank you.
Great stuff, gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming on the program. I think let it be said here. At 7 p.m. tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. tomorrow, we will be interviewing the FA chairman.
That's
live.
the president?
No, it's not live. You know it. But Kurt will be talking to the nation as it is.
Oh, okay.
We had an interview with him about a week ago.
Okay.
Over 1.5 hours.
Wow.
On everything that's on his chest. He let it all out. It's going out unedited, only a few little minor things here, but as his word, nothing has been misquoted. So please, spread the word, make a date, GTV Sports Plus tomorrow, 7:30 p.m.
I will watch.
Kurt talks to the nation. It will be repeated on Sunday at 6 p.m. My producer is, oh God, the repeat should have been in place of Sunday Night Live.
So you don't come to it?
We're going to come to do Sunday Night Live again.
No, but it's not too late. Mr. Yeboadako.
Whatever it is, Kurt will be talking to the nation on Friday at 7:30 p.m.
Okay.
And it will be repeated on Sunday at 6 p.m.
Right.
Thank you very much. And incidentally, folks, very good news though. Barcelona lost 3-2 at home.
Wow.
They lost 3-2 at home. No. And it only happened because they gave Frankfurt, a Frankfurt player, a red card. They were 3-0 up at one stage.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that tells you the whole thing about football. So when the Nigerian Amokachi gets up and says, we have our stadium, we have this.
And some people don't even know where to play.
Some people are in confusion.
They are in confusion.
Hold on. They want me to allow you to make a comment or two about the Barcelona game. Truth be told, they were 3-0 down at one stage. It led to it was when the red card took place that they got the 2 goals. Your comment?
Maybe the better team won on the day.
When I was leaving home, they won.
But I didn't want them to win anyway.
No, like in the first leg it was very tight. I mean, Frankfurt showed
it was 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1. They really showed that there could be a problem.
Yeah.
And I told my Barcelona friends that yes, Xavi is doing a good job, but don't let it seem like everything is done and everything is sorted. This is like a reality check for them.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can go on there, but I think they have a good setup.
A reality check like Atletico Madrid.
Oh yeah.
And then
my only problem in life is my fans laughing at Chelsea, mocking Chelsea fans.
Chelsea were.
In fact, Carl, do you know you introduced me to Barcelona many years ago? Do you know?
When was this?
many years ago. I don't remember when, but you gave me a magazine when I was a little child.
No.
You gave me a magazine that, you know, spoke about the history behind Barcelona, what they do, the community team, and I completely was bought over by that magazine. Many years ago, maybe over 25 years ago, I took that magazine from you from Joy FM. It was just about when Joy FM was starting. I took that magazine from you.
Okay.
At the doors of Joy FM.
Okay, please bring me back the magazine.
I can't find it.
Check out.
And then in the Frankfurt team, there's a Ghanaian, North.
Yes. That's
good striker.
That's what really piqued my interest.
Yes.
Good striker.
Yes.
He might be one.
I just hope he's one of the. I haven't checked, but I just hope he's one of the good. But anyway.
Yeah.
Before we leave, we are going to have this little promo. Take a look at it. From the depths and despair of Garua.
It's all over in Garua. It's heartbreak for Ghana.
To the ecstasy and elation of Abuja. In between this period where the efforts of saving our passion, which is football, it is clear some lessons got needed to the successful qualification of Ghana to the World Cup in Qatar 2022. The GFA's chief servant, Kurt Edwin Simeon Okweku, speaks on the intrigues of bringing back the love to our passion. Only on GTV Sports Plus. Watch the GFA president, Kurt Okweku, talk to the nation. From the depths and despair of Garua.
It's all over in Garua. It's heartbreak for Ghana.
To the ecstasy and elation of Abuja. In between this period where the efforts of saving our passion, which is football, it is clear some lessons got needed to the successful qualification of Ghana to the World Cup in Qatar 2022. The GFA's chief servant, Kurt Edwin Simeon Okweku, speaks on the intrigues of bringing back the love to our passion. Only on GTV Sports Plus. Watch the GFA president, Kurt Okweku, talk to the nation. That's it. We are finally over and done with. Thank you guys for coming once again. God richly bless you. Thank you, the guys who do the fabulous job behind the scenes. You don't know them, but they're absolutely fabulous. Cameramen, lighting men, soundmen, video editors, all manner of things. Henry knows about them, though. But more importantly, thank you for watching. Without you, this program would not be anywhere. God willing, we should be back next week with another episode of Saving Our Passion, and we have been given the go-ahead to continue right up to the World Cup. So we're going to be doing it every Thursday. But don't forget, there's a live African game this weekend, and when there are not African games, Sunday Night Live will be in full effect. Have a fabulous week. Goodbye.